do do boo 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 do boo 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 do boo 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 boo. Hello there, folks. Once again, from a secret, undisclosed, and very humid location hidden somewhere deep in the bowels of historic downtown St. John's, Newfoundland, comes in the library graphic literature with your host, Wallace Ryan. Me, yay! Unfortunately, Luna's off at work there tonight, and we are actually going to do a big episode because we've got a big pile of books. But today, being July 1st here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, it's also basically Memorial Day for us in a lot of ways, even though it's Canada Day for the rest of Canada. In Newfoundland, we also mark the Battle of the Somme, July 1st, 1916, where a lot of Newfoundlanders died, but in which my own grandfather actually fought and survived, thank God, because that's why I'm here. Anyway, so I figured, hey, I'll do a selection of war books. So I decided to pick top 10 war books that I can think of. But before that, I have something to show you. I brought here. Hey! Have a close-up look at it here. This is my Arts and L Award. I won it for. It's called the. Here, get a closer look at it there. Nice, hey? It's the Artist Achievement Award. I guess it's kind of like an award for basically, not only my comic book work and all that, but basically too for my organizational work for the library, for and for teaching comics for 30 years, and for co-creating the Breakdown Comic Jam with my good buddy Paul Tucker, whose book is out a week past there. I'll always be behind me, and for other things. Anyway, it was a great honor. Thank you, Arts NL. And actually, I'm the first comic book artist to win this award, so hopefully more will follow. Anyway, and you can actually see my acceptance speeches posted here on the library too. Anyway, back to tonight's war comics, war books. As a matter of fact, we'll start with my number 10. Is DC Goes to War. I've featured this one a few times, but why not? It has some really great books in it, especially The Haunted Tank. There's even Enemy Aces in there. But what I like about this is, and there's a great Alex Toth book there. But there's also a Unknown Soldier in here, which is really cool. So yeah, it's one of my favorite sort of compilation books of war comics. So yeah, definitely worth picking up. Then next, of course, is Sergeant Rock himself. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. This one I picked volume 2 out of the DC archives. This has basically a lot of art, mainly by Joe Kubert, as far as I know. Yeah, you can just look at it. Yeah, it's an all Joe book. Anyway, beautifully drawn, of course, as usual. That Joe. There's where I last left off. Okay. Even back then, Joe could do some great comics. It just got better and better and better and better as it went on. And of course, when I'd be in the store, whenever anyone would be coming looking for war comics, a lot of times it would be Sergeant Rock. And if it wasn't Sergeant Rock, then it was this good fellow, which everyone knows, Sergeant Fury. Sergeant Nick Fury, as he was known back then. And this is Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, a few of which you might recognize from the Marvel movies. But the first so many issues of this was done by Kirby and Stan Lee, 1 to 7 and 13, and then Dick Ayers 8 to 12, and he more or less takes over from there. I actually met Dick Ayers and Stan Lee. Anyway, there was basically a rumor or legend going out there that Goodman had challenged. They said that they could do any comic that they would do at the time would be success and all that. And he said, "Well, give us a war comic," and they did, and it was actually popular. And it went on. Geez, it went on into the 70s. So it wasn't just a quick overnight sensation type of deal either, right? So yeah, check it out. Like I say, with that, you got the best of the DC, the best of the Marvel. And up next comes, of course, Enemy Ace. Dun-dun-dun-dun. And I know this is the enemy and all that, but Enemy Ace I like because it was well, you know, it was based on the opposition. It was a German flyer from World War One, and it was bloody cool. I love the Enemy Ace. One of the most beautifully drawn war comics out there. Oh, like an ugly doll bookmark there. Well, yes, I'm gonna pull that out. Well, yeah, absolutely love the covers too. Great artwork, great stories. He was a killer with a conscience. He had to shoot us down, but he wasn't happy about it. But yes, Enemy Ace definitely so worth picking up and owning. Whew. Oh my God, it is. It's very hot here this evening. Oh. Wipe all this sweat off my hands now so I don't get it onto my books. Now 2 in a row here from EC. There's Two-Fisted Tales. No. I love these because the artwork is incredible in it. Like just to give you an example, you have artists like Feldstein, Wally Wood, Johnny Craig. Let's see who else. John Severin, Kurtzman, Wally Wood, and so on. But yeah, great war stories. Two-Fisted Tales. There's just the covers themselves. I love the covers themselves. But great stories. You know, war stories from different eras too. But I mean, everyone a delight. Two-Fisted Tales definitely one of the all-time great war comics, I believe. There it is. Kurtzman's genius work. So if you want to see storytelling, pick up Two-Fisted Tales. You'll see some storytelling there, I'll tell you that. Whew. Oh. Man, it is really warm here tonight. Along with that is Frontline Combat. This has a lot of the same people, I do believe. Let's see here. Artist Wally Wood, John Severin, Harvey Kurtzman, Jack Davis, Alex Toth, John Severin. Okay, yeah. Once again, another great. I think he was the original editor on that. No, Gaines was for this one. Anyway, Frontline Combat, another one of the great war comics. EC did do great war comics. I mean, look, this one here. Look, this is a classic story of Alex Toth. Even back then, Toth was perfect. Look at this simplicity of line, right? Now this guy could tell stories. Caesar. Looks like Wally Wood from up here. So yeah, the artwork is just off the hook. So if you want to see some cool artwork, not any of that PS crap, plagiarism software, I don't call it artificial intelligence. I call it plagiarism software. And as all of you know too, as I've posted on our group, we will never ever actually review any plagiarized comics. which is what AI is all about. But we'll go, if you want to see real art, this is the show for it. Now look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Ain't that something else? Ain't that something fierce? Okay, we're coming down to, down to the last four. We're about halfway through here now. Thank God too, because I'm really starting to sweat. Oh, you like my House of Secrets? Next up, the classic complete Kirby War and Romance. The definitive collection of Jack Kirby's Marvel War and Romance comics. I guess complete. I guess it must be complete. Now this does have the Howling Commandos mixed in with it, so it's kind of like, you know, so many issues. The back part of the book from, oh God, it's almost about half. Oh no, not half. Basically, you know, a little bit anyway. But anyway, what I like about this is that it has his romance stories, and when you look through it, it's funny because a lot of people used to think that Kirby couldn't draw beautiful women, but I always liked my Kirby women. I think they were quite cool. There's a story from Battle in this, then some covers, another story from Battle, and then yeah, so a couple of stories from Battle. What I like about this is that it fills in any little holes in, because I mean, whenever I see a Jack Kirby book, like any good comic book person, I will buy it. So I mean, I had to have this one, but it was good because it fills in a lot of holes for a lot of stuff that, to be quite honest, I'd never see. All right, especially, you know, the Battle, but mainly because of the romance comics. No, I was always I always thought Sue was kind of hot. I always thought Kirby did, and I was always a big fan of Big Bertha too. I don't know what it is, but yeah, look at this, right? And then of course into the war side of it all. Once again with your Howling Commandos. But yeah, so it's a neat little collection. And like I say, once again, I bought it for the love, not the war. Which is funny considering I'm talking to you folks about it here today. Anyway, boy, it is getting hot here, isn't it? Let's get on to staying with Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby The Losers. No. Of course, this has actually I should have placed this even higher. Well, okay, the next two are pretty good anyway. But this is Kirby's 70s adaptation of The Losers. A lot of people say he put a lot of this as autobiographical. The stories are just absolutely fabulous. It's, you know, you're reading stories by someone who was there at the time, right? So I mean, that's what I like about this one. It has that gritty realism to it. Like, this feels like a war comic. It's so worth getting. It's to me one of the greats. Well, I mean, geez, I have it up there as number 3. So it got to be good, and it is good. But yeah, beautifully drawn, great action, of course, great Kirby action, as always. Now we're coming down to the last few here. Now this is a collection edited by Dr. Michael J. Vasallo and art restoration by Alan Harvey. This is Atlas at War. This is from, what is it, Dead Reckoning? I think it was Dead Reckoning and Marvel. So they got together on this baby. This one I like because once again it has a nice selection. It has basically art from, let's have a look here, art from Russ Heath, Joe Manley, Jerry Robinson, Paul Reinman, is it Gil Evans? That is. Warner Roth. There's some Kirby in here, I do believe. Gene Colan. Here we go. Gene Colan, Steve Ditko, Sid Shores, Don Heck. But everyone, you know. So a lot of great war comics in this one. It's just one of the great collections, I think. Actually, you know what? I would put this as number 3, and I'll put Kirby's Losers ahead of it. Actually, yeah. But anyway, we'll pretend this is number 3. Anyway, it's definitely worth getting. It's a great little collection from the Atlas era. So let's have a quick look see. It's a little bit of an EC influence you can feel in some of these. Let it not be said that Martin Goodman wasn't above stealing someone else's thunder. But yeah, great stories. I love, that's why I love older comics too, because they are a little bit of history. It's in the attitudes, the speech, what they're talking about, the backgrounds. It's like watching old films. To me, these are like little time capsules, and so worth checking out. And I find that with all. That's what I like about all older comics, Golden Age stuff and stuff like that. I don't care, if it has some tasteless stuff mixed in with it, or terrible characterizations, because that's part of the past too. There's a lot of prejudice out there in the world, and there was a lot of prejudice back then. But why erase it? If you erase it, then you don't remember it. I'm a firm believer in that. You gotta remember your history. If you don't, of the old expression, basically, if you forget your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And Donald Trump is proof of that. Anyway, last but not least, probably one. I think it is one of my favorite all-time war books. Is from War magazines at the time, Blazing Combat. This was this has all. What is it? 3 issues or 4 issues in it. This was a classic comic magazine put out by Warren and in the 60s, and eventually he had to cancel it after a few issues because he sold a lot of comics, like all comic book companies did at the time, to the U.S. Army to be put on U.S. Army bases all over the world, and so it was a lucrative little contract. Anyway, the boys, the hires up at first, they were a bit uncomfortable. Then they started to get a little ticked off, and then they started to get mad, and then they got threatening. And basically, more or less, it's just like knock it off, or we won't sell any of your comics. Not Blazing Combat. We won't sell your eerie or creepy or whatever. So this comic was sacrificed for the greater good of his company. But great art in it. Joe Orlando, Angela Torres, George Evans, Gray Morrow, Reed Crandall, Blaisdell, John Severin, Al McWilliams, Alex Toth, all kinds of Gene Colan. I knew he was in here somewhere. Gray Morrow, Alex Toth again. A couple of Gene Colan stories. Anyway, beautifully drawn, of course, like most War magazines were. And this basically is really from the era of and this is basically a War is Hell comic. Which you began to see more into this 50. Well, actually, in a lot of ways, started with EC in terms of the War is Hell thing, and in a lot of ways you'd see that with a lot of the Sergeant Rock too. War was not something fun, but beautifully drawn. Look, I mean, this one here. This is the Toth one. I mean, look, this guy could draw great scenes with jet fighters and stuff like that. Beautifully done. So yeah, it definitely was a who's who of the comic book world at the time, and just absolutely stunningly beautiful work. I mean, look at that. I don't know who that is, but amazing. And I think somewhere they got. I thought they had the covers somewhere here and back there. There's the four covers. And Archie Goodwin, I do believe they had a picture of him. Yeah, he was involved in it there. I think he was the editor. Can't remember now. I actually met him back in the late 80s. When I was down in New York doing and interviewed him. What a nice guy. But yes, so number one out there, blazing combat. Dun, 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 dun. Blaze, 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 blaze. Whew. Now, I got another upcoming show too. I want to do an upcoming show on heavy metal books that I have with material from heavy metal in it. But first of all, Loon and I have like a really big, super colossal show coming up because we got about 10 books that have piled up that we're going to review. So, and we'll actually do that this week because I'm just doing this as a bonus episode. It's a warm night out and I had to have something to do. And I love you folks. Had to share the loving of comics somehow. I was looking at that and thinking about my grandfather, who actually like I say, who survived Beaumont Hamel and Gallipoli, and who I worked with as a kid. So you know, it was which I really liked. It was, besides knowing my grandfather, I really got to know him as a person because I worked with him, and he was a fun guy. He told me the last time, I remember he told him telling a customer when they said to him, you know, you never seem to be worried, Mr. Ryan. And he told him that the last time he worried was actually on this day back in 1916, just before he left the trenches to go to go over the top, as they said it at the time, and get shot down. But he was lucky. He somehow managed to avoid all those machine gun bullets flying at him, and he actually managed to pick up a wounded soldier and drag him back to the trenches with him without getting hit. How that ever happened is beyond me. So someone up there likes me, I think. That being said, someone down here loves you, which is me. Keep reading them comics, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Okay, love you. Bye. Night night.